Hello, welcome to our DCAC live stream webinars. Today we have Jen Gerasimas here today from the Solo Trainer, and she's going to give us a little quick mini seminar about Passion to Profit, 5 keys to building your solo personal training business. So first I'm going to let her introduce herself, then take it away, and then we will open it up for questions at the end of her little seminar. And this is just a preview of what you will be able to find at the DCACFitCon coming up this summer. So Jen, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamie. I am Jen Gerasimas. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Solo Trainer. And I'm here to talk with you guys today about what it takes to be successful as a solo business owner. I've been a solo business owner on myself for over 7.5 years. And during my time, I have had so many questions for colleagues on what do I need to do to go independent. And there's just not a lot of information and guidance out there on how to get started, how to do it, and how to be successful. So through that passion of wanting to help colleagues be successful as an independent trainer, I've created the Solo Trainer. And so today I'm here to share with you the 5 key things that you need to be successful as an independent personal trainer. And some of you here that are listening, maybe you are already an independent personal trainer and wanting to get tips on what to do, make sure that you're on the right path to be successful independently. Maybe you're here and you're thinking about it and wonder, what in the world, where do I get started? What do I need to do? Or maybe you're just curious about it. So everyone that's here, hopefully be able to address some questions if you have. If you have any extra as we go through this, please put them in the chat box and we'll be sure to answer them at the end. And I know we have about 20-ish minutes or so for me to go through this, and I've got a lot of information to share with you guys. I'm really excited to dive in and to get started with you all, because having your own business is very exciting and rewarding, but at the same time, it comes with a lot of challenges, and I'm hoping to help trainers navigate through those challenges so that it is not such a challenge, that it's more of an easy transition and transformation so that you can actually be successful in what you're really passionate about doing. So, and we might be we're great. We love training our clients. We are savvy at how we can take care of them. But when it comes to the business aspects, it can be a bit much. So hopefully, again, this is going to help you feel a little more confident as you are building and growing your business. Great. Okay. All right. So topic today, passion to profit, 5 key things to building your solo personal training business. All right. So one thing I want you to also remember, and this is not one of the key things, but just an overarching thing, is your why you're doing this. There is a client of mine who was a successful business owner himself. And one of the biggest advice pieces that he gave me that I love is you really need to understand, why are you doing this? Because there's times in your business when you might be struggling and be like, well, why did I do this? And you need to go back to that why, just like we do with our clients when they're trying to reach their goals and they're struggling and with keeping up with the habits they need to do or whatever, is going back to that why. So I just want to put that out there as we now lead into key number 1. That is making sure that you and your business is protected, that you are protected. And so there are several different ways that you want to make sure you're laying this really good foundation and started in your business. What do you need to do? 1 is determining your business entity. And what in the world does that mean? Some people aren't familiar. They have no idea. So as your own independent business owner, this is awesome. You're going to have your own business. You need to decide whether you're going to be what's called maybe a sole proprietor. Maybe you're going to get an LLC. There's also S Corp options. Now, disclaimer, I'm not an attorney and I'm not a business accountant, right? So it behooves you to talk with one of those professionals to figure out which route you ought to go in your business, and each one has different implications for tax reasons also. Many people go the route of becoming an LLC. And so if you're interested in becoming an LLC, you don't have to go through an attorney, which can be inexpensive to pay that. Check what your state requirements are. Google it, ChatGPT it. What do I need to get my LLC in the state that I live in? A lot of times there's a state corporate commission website where you can go and you can apply for your LLC. And you may want the LLC over just being a sole proprietor because it does protect you more, especially your personal assets. And that's one of the reasons why you want to create a business entity. And then especially with people that get an LLC, if you're not familiar, you'll want to get an EIN number, which is like your social security number for your business. So when you're for your taxes, you're going to want to submit that. And that too, you don't have an attorney have to help you with. You can go on the IRS website and you can easily get your EIN number created, apply for it, and you get one right away. All right. One of the other things to help keep you and your business protected is legal documents. Lots of legal documents that you want to make sure you get: your liability waivers, policies, coaching agreements, especially for those that do nutrition, health, and wellness coaching. Any consents for use of videos or testimonials that you use with clients. And then if you've got a website, you've got your website disclaimers, terms of use, privacy. Starting your business does have a lot of investment in the beginning, and this is one area that's going to cost a lot of it, but it's one area that you want to make sure that you do not skip. The next thing to make sure to help keep your business protected is having liability insurance. A lot of us might already be familiar with that depending on where are currently training at. If you're in a big box gym, you probably not needed liability insurance, but if you're in a smaller one, you may have already have it. But what kind of liability insurance that you get also depends, again, where you're training at. And also, if you're providing nutrition, health, and wellness coaching, you want to make sure that it covers that as well. And just to share a story also, for those of you who are thinking, I'm going to go independent and I'm going to train out of my home, which is what I do, you need to also check with your homeowner's insurance if they will still cover you if you are training people out of your home. And I speak on this on an experience because I know I needed insurance for my company and for my business when we moved into this house and created this studio, that I checked with my homeowner's insurance and I said, this is what I'm doing. And they came back and said, we will no longer cover your home insurance. And so we had to go find a new company to get our homeowner's insurance. And through that company also, I was able to get business insurance, liability insurance, and umbrella policy. So you want to make sure, check all those things out. Some things you don't think about maybe as you're going independent. Another thing you want to help to protect yourself and your business is making sure you have some good client questionnaires developed, created, so that you're really getting that good health history so that clients can really disclose their information about their medical past. Where a lot of times if you work in another gym, that might have already been provided for you, but you want to make sure you really craft those here. And to me, it's a lot of a CYA for a lot of this. As a former nurse of myself, I always had to document everything about my patients. And so I just always want to make sure I have just good documentation and awareness of their health and medical history. All right, one last thing here on key number one is to make sure that you're separating to help protect you and your business, is to separate your business and your personal finances. You are a business now, so it needs a separate business account. No having clients Venmo you and PayPal you into your personal account. You really need to separate the two together because you really can't know your business numbers unless you keep the two separated, especially when it's what is available that I've got to pay my taxes with, and then what's available for me to pay for that I can live off of. So you definitely need to separate the two of them. And just also, when you're going to look for a business bank account, do some comparisons because business accounts can have some extra added fees upon them and stuff like that. So you want to do some kind of comparison and see which one might best fit you and for your business. And kind of talking about the finance part leads us to key number two. So key number two is having an understanding of business finances and your financial goal. Again, we could, as trainers, we are super knowledgeable about programming clients. We can do it in our sleep, but sometimes this business stuff we don't know exactly what's all behind the scenes. And now being on a business owner myself, I can have a greater appreciation for why the gym, the client, I might get 50% of what the client's paying at the gym I'm working at once I understood business finances better. And so often what I see people do and the trainers think is they don't understand the business finance part. I know I totally didn't do when I got started. And so let's just say the client's paying $100 an hour to work with you. You might be seeing $40 of that. And so you think, I'm going to go on my own. I'll just charge $60. I'm going to make more than my $40 I was making at the gym. And then these people they don't have to pay so much. So then maybe my client base will build bigger. And that is not the best approach for trying to be successful in your personal training business. I'll get into pricing a little bit more later, but I just want once you get understanding of, as I'm diving into the different parts of business expenses and stuff, you'll see that really, you don't get to take home that 100% that your clients are paying you. So the parts of the business expenses that you got to think you got to pay out from what clients are paying you, the big bulk of it is usually taxes, and it could be as much as 30%, depending on, for you, what your income level is. Also, if you're married and you're filing together, your income tax bracket. And then you have to think about, you have federal tax, you have state tax, you have local tax, and that all may have to be paid. And so you've got that has to be make sure that's being taken care of, right? So you want to think about around 30% of whatever is your clients are paying you needs to be paid for taxes. And I'll break in about quarterly taxes. I'm not an accountant. It's best to leave sort of your business accounting stuff working with a small business accountant who can help you determine what are your quarterly estimates that you need to make towards your taxes. Because if you're making so much money, you actually got to make quarterly taxes. I think I understand you can actually get dinged if you're not taking quarterly taxes. So they estimate that for you on having to pay that. But there are lots of business expenses that can maybe help reduce how much taxes you have to pay. And so all the things that you can use towards business expenses are things like equipment that you buy, subscriptions that you have for like email, website, maybe a programming site if you use something like Trainerize, things like that. Portions of possibly your cell phone use, so your cell phone bill, and of course education, things like your certifications and your conferences, any travel associated with that. If you rent a space in order to train your client out of, that's something you can write off of. If you work out of your home, you can write off a portion of your utilities and your water and internet and mortgage and rent. And for an accountant's going to be able to help you best with all that kind of stuff. But just want you to be aware of all of the other business expenses that are associated. So we're talking maybe 30% for taxes. You could have 20% for expenses. And that means that's 50% that you actually get to take home into your personal account and pay for bills and life and all that sort of stuff. I can't, just so you have a better understanding of that. And when you do, you can have a better understanding of how you might be pricing your services to your clients also, or exactly how much do you need to bring in, how much you need to bring in on a monthly, weekly basis. And I'll get more into that in just a moment. So I know I've said again about working with an accountant to help you take care of that. That can actually save you money with working with someone specifically for your business. All right. And another encouragement to help you better with your finances is paying yourself on a regular basis. And so I pay myself every 2 weeks, biweekly pay, and to do it on what we call delayed payments so I pay myself based on 2 weeks. I count up the number of sessions I've done, like you did style in the gym, possibly. And I've trained 40 sessions. Each session is this much my client gave me. I'm going to take 50% of that. That's what I'm paying myself. The rest is going to my business. Versus not doing a delayed payment. I've seen some trainers, what they'll do is, so say your clients buy packages. So they buy a 12-pack and you decide to pay yourself with, oh, yay, I got that 12-pack. And you decide to pay yourself instead of breaking it up into the hour when they actually train with you and paying yourself, you actually pay yourself that package, half of that package price. But the problem with that is that, for example, my month of May, most of my clients needed to renew their packages. So my revenue I brought in on May is way higher than it's going to be here in June. I've only got a couple of handful of ones that are in June. So if I pay myself based on how much by packages I came in on May, and then June's here, that's a hard inconsistency in being able to keep up with your own personal finances. So that's one of the reasons to do that delay. Now, if you're one of these coaches, maybe you already do something where you do monthly. And so if it's a monthly subscription renewal or something like that, great. When they pay for that 1 month that auto renews and your time to pay yourself, fine. Take that half or whatever percentage you're going to have for yourself. But if they have 3 months, say they pay for 3 months of work service with you, and I would break that total down. They pay all that lump sum in one. I'd break it down into 3 months and then pay yourself over the 3 months. So it really allows you to be able to, again, to track where you are. So you're knowing that you're bringing in the money that you want to, and in a more consistent basis. And really understanding your financial goal is really going to help you determine sort of your services and prices. For those that have come in, welcome. Since I've last started chatting, I'm glad that you're here. If you happen to have any questions as I'm going through, please put them in the chat box and we'll be sure to look at them at the end, because I know I'm going through like information really fast. It's a lot that I've thrown in here. So let's move on to number 3. All right. Number 3 is being firm on your services, pricing, and times available. You really need to clearly define what your services are, how much they're going to cost, and the times you're available to help you create that work-life balance that you're really wanting, as being independent and not just being burnout. And so part of knowing that is knowing who will you serve and how will you serve them that works for you. What are you going to offer? Are you going to offer, and what are you not going to offer? So things like one-on-one, group, are you going to write up programs for people? Are you doing online coaching? Are you doing nutrition? If you're doing nutrition, health, and wellness, is it included in with your personal training, or is that separate? If your clients ask you for workouts on the days that they're not with you, are you including that, or is that going to be an extra charge? And traveling to see people. If you travel to see people, I encourage you to charge more for your time and convenience, for their convenience for you doing that. That's one thing that I did not do when I first got started. And so you need to. You can be spending so much time traveling around and you're like, you only saw a handful of clients and you're not making the money you want. So you might want to consider, like, when you travel to people, to charge more for that, for you getting the privilege of them coming into your home. I don't think it should be less by any means. All right. And then also part of not only who you serve is knowing who you won't serve, and be honest about that. If someone comes across this as, I don't think I'm the best fit for you, but let's see if I can find somebody that is. But a lot of times we're trying to take in everybody we can in the door, but if we really feel like somebody's not the best fit, in the long run, it's probably not going to last. So maybe you can go ahead and see if you can find a colleague that can help that person instead. And now thinking about this is a hard part, I feel like, as far as being really confident in your pricing and the value that you bring. It's amazing the value that we can bring as trainers. And often I feel like trainers kind of devalue themselves when determining their prices. And you've got to really think about who you're trying to cater into. And most of the time, like when we gosh, that seems like a lot to have to ask somebody that I give, but it may be a lot to us, but the people that we're wanting to train, they want them to have the means to do that. And if you're really providing quality and service and relaying that, then they can see that. So when you're determining your price of how to price yourself, going back to what I said before, you really want to know what your goal is. What is your goal? What do you want to take home on a yearly, then monthly, then a week, down to a weekly basis? And then how many hours are you willing to work, and figure out, okay, then I need to make X much per hour. And okay, if that seems reasonable, how does that work as far as what I can charge for my clients and my services and what I do and that sort of thing. We could spend a whole entire huge session on this. In fact, I will be at DCAC. So I'm not on helping yourself with pricing with that. So we're going to keep moving on a little bit because we just got a few more minutes remaining. And so a few other tips that I just want to say to being firm to help you with is also about not discounting your services at all. A lot of times, the cheaper it is, the less likely people are to commit. and not really grandfathering people into prices. It can be really scary to tell people that your prices are increasing, but there's some great ways to do that makes it a little bit more comfortable about it. And most of the time, clients, when I'm so afraid about it, I haven't lost one yet because of it. Essentially, it can be, I would encourage you to grandfather people in. They should respect you enough in your business to understand that prices are going to increase. They like getting income. They like to get income price increases, be making more in their salary, and the same should happen for you and that sort of thing. One other thing to also be really firm about is your 24, if you have a 24-hour cancellation policy, to be firm about that. And also about your boundaries, the times upon which you will train. For myself, I don't do weekends and I don't take evenings. If people want to come in, you might be building your business and you're trying to fill and you'll take as many as everybody. But at the same time, part of you being independent is so that you can, hi there, you can have that life balance that you want. All right. Okay. I need to start moving on. Moving on to number 4 is having a really solid sales funnel. Sales are really hard for people, but if you have a solid sales funnel from the time that initial call to that follow-up email to what that comp session looks like, it will go much better. When do you talk about pricing within that? I encourage talking about pricing as soon as possible, maybe even having it on your website. But what is that sales funnel? What's that experience that client's going through when they're with you? So you really want to have a clear, solid lineup of that. And it also makes it less nervous when you're talking and working with someone when you have that. And it really shows a lot of confidence. And again, that you're like a legit business. This isn't some sort of side hustle thing. Like, you are serious about your business and have that professionalism. And I'm always a fan at first, if you're having an initial conversation with one, set up a call and talk with them rather than just texting an email if possible. Just might be old fashioned of me, and that sort of thing. All right, so let me move on. I'm gonna jump in quick as we get into number 5, which is getting creative to find leads. A lot of times people jump to this point. I know you're hungry, you're like wanting to build and grow your business. And so you're like, how do I get people in the door? But if you haven't done keys 1 through 5, it's hard to really concentrate on this part only because you're still working on all these other pieces, and you need this solid foundation of all those other pieces before you're even getting started. Because again, it shows your professionalism, your business, all that sort of stuff. And so when you're ready, okay, how do I get business? Referrals are always the number one option, the number one part that's available. I'll touch on real quickly. If you're currently working at a gym, you're thinking about going independently, I'm not an advocate of poaching clients from your gym. You need to abide by any kind of non-competition, whatever kind of guidance that they have with that. And let them know that you're available to start training them at a certain other date, but ask them for referrals. Who do you have that can help me get started? Think about networking with health and wellness providers. Is there ways that you can get involved in community events? Can you post your stuff up in apartments that have gyms and offices and all that sort of stuff? So it's just a few ways. I'm going to be talking a lot about this as long as the sales funnel also at DCAC. So I just ran through a bunch of stuff really quickly, but I'm going to wrap up right here and tell you thank you for that. If those that came, as I mentioned, I'm speaking twice at DCAC, one on Friday, all about the finances part of it. And then, although on Sunday, I'm also speaking, and that's when I'm really going to be talking about the sales funnel, having that, getting leads, that sort of thing. So you've got 2 QR codes there. One you can scan and be a part of the Solo Trainer community. This site will go live next month. I'm so excited about it. Like, DCAC is the big launch for the Solo Trainer. And then if you haven't already signed up for the DCAC conference, check out that QR code and be sure to do that. I'd love to meet you. And Jamie, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, awesome. I just wanted to say all of that is really good information. I have fell into owning my own business. I was a co-owner starting in 2011, and then right before COVID, bought out my business partner. So all of these things that you're talking about are super duper important. And especially in the fitness industry, it's really easy to think, oh, I want to go do this. But there's a lot of behind the scenes work, and there's not a lot of resources out there that will let you know what to do. So I think your program is awesome. You bring up a lot of valid points. A lot of those things that you've talked about, I've learned, but it's taken me years and years to figure out all of those things. So you putting this all together in a neat little package for people so that they can focus on their clients is really great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're excited to have you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Join us at DCACFitness.com if
Okay.
you want to hear more from Jen. And then we'll open it up to people who are here who can ask questions. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.